The Adventures of Cosmos Crow are online fable-based stories whose lessons are geared towards some of our biggest life challenges. I was first introduced to Cosmos Crow when I was working in a school system. As many other school social workers and counselors can relate to, I was struggling to balance an ever-growing number of responsibilities, and at the same time, trying to ensure that I was effectively meeting the needs of my students. Time always seemed to be a problem. There was just not enough time to get it all done. I needed a time-effective way to be able to engage my students, to effectively focus on the problem areas, and also to still be able to communicate and collaborate with teachers and parents. The Adventures of Cosmos Crow was the answer that I needed. My students loved listening to the adventure fables and would look forward to learning more about the characters and their stinky thinking. I was able to find these stories were effective across many age groups, and I could always find one that focused on just the exact problem area I was targeting. And the best part was that I was able to share the story with the classroom teacher and even the parents. This helped me to be able to communicate the same message to everyone, for us to all use the same language, and for all of us to work together in reinforcing the skill we wanted to build. All of a sudden, the student now could be given a simple reminder about what he learned from Jeff the monkey in counseling, in the classroom, and at home. Everyone reinforcing the same skills with the same language at the same time was the answer to my time issues. In fact, the adventure stories worked so well that I also started to utilize them in discipline settings such as after-school clinics, Saturday schools, and even detention centers, as well as with the school-wide positive behavior programs, and even in helping me to develop individualized behavioral plans. After several years in schools, I decided to make that leap to starting a private practice. But my work with Cosmos Crow in the schools was not done. I was able to start doing some contract work in a few schools, in which I go in and teach the adventure fables to the classes. Allowing the whole class to learn about the same coping skill at the same time enables the students to help reinforce the skills with each other. The teacher can now give one reminder about what they learned from Tanya the snake, and the students can all reflect on the rules about tattling together. The other great thing about the stories is that they can be broken down to fit in any time frame. I can take an hour-long class time and complete a whole lesson, or I can break the lesson into 2 half-hour classes, or even to just a few minutes each day throughout the entire week. The flexibility in the lessons makes them easy to use in any setting. But what about my fellow private practitioners out there? Can the adventure fables be helpful to you as well? And the answer is more than you can imagine. As I'm sure you can guess, if you work with kids in your practice, then the stories can be used in sessions to engage your client in an entertaining and effective lesson on topics such as anger, anxiety, self-esteem, school performance, and on and on and on. In sessions, we listen to the story, we discuss it, we relate it to their individual situations, and then we incorporate it into art, crafts, role play, other activities to enhance the lesson. And again, you can send the story to the parents so they can read the story again with the client at home, and so the parent can learn and understand how to reinforce the lessons. The parents of my clients have loved feeling like they are now able to have a tangible thing that they can do with the child at home to help them in the progress. And there have been many times that the parent was able to recognize on their own that they too struggle with the lesson of the story. Without ever having to confront the parent or their own lack of coping skills, the parents are able to see that they may have some work to do as well. Truly, it is so nice to have the stories do some of the work for me. But what if you don't work with the kids in your practice? Well, as we just mentioned, adults sometimes need to learn these skills just as much as the kids do, if not more. The stories and the related resources have given me the ability to teach my adolescent and adult clients about irrational thoughts and about how their thoughts affect their feelings and behaviors in an easy and non-threatening way. One of the related resources that I use daily is the 10 most common irrational beliefs of people. We all have irrational beliefs from time to time, but for some of our clients, one or more of these irrational beliefs may be at the core of their problems. Usually, I will give my client the 10 most common irrational beliefs packet and tell them to take it home and read through it. I ask them to identify the top 2 or 3 beliefs that they feel they struggle with the most. When they bring it back to the next session, we review the beliefs and the ones that they identified. In doing this, my clients are able to self-identify their own skill deficits, and I'm able to develop their treatment plan based upon the areas they see as the biggest concerns. For example, clients who identify that they struggle with the belief, "It's awful if others do not like me," are likely to be my people pleasers, and therefore we will focus attention on things such as self-esteem, setting boundaries, and will utilize adventure stories such as the Collard Green Garden to learn about the emotional manipulation of others. With the help of Cosmos Crow, my work as the therapist has become easier, and my clients are able to gain insights and understandings that they did not have before. And let me not forget to mention how the Adventures of Cosmos Crow has helped me with my own children. Even with all of my training and experiences, there have been times that I felt lost in knowing how to help them with the struggles they face. Whether it's been using the story, The Trying Metal, to help with feelings of separation anxiety, or using the story, Take Me Out to the Ball Game, to help my son understand his emotions. The adventure stories have always been a resource that I can turn to. My children have enjoyed listening to the stories and discussing the characters, the stinky thinking, and even ways that they can relate to the story. The Adventures of Cosmos Crow is a resource that I believe can benefit every household. So I think you can see why I say Cosmos Crow has become an integral part of my work and really my life. Even after all of these years and with so many positive outcomes, I'm always still excited to see how my students and clients relate to the stories and how a simple, silly fable can be so effective in dealing with some of life's biggest challenges.